episode 7, another Sharkly adventure. And it's your boy Icon with a little DC animated television as we make the drive for Stargirl, which shows up in about another week or so. August 31st is when, less than a week, Stargirl returns. But for now, we are discussing Young Harls, and we pick up in this particular episode because this episode starts right after Ivy had tapped into the green. She did the whole thing with Swamp Thing, where Swamp Thing helped her tap into the green, and now that she's tapped into the green to find out where Frank's location is, it made her sick, and now she's throwing up the green. And she's, she's having stomach aches, and she's vomiting, and blah, blah, blah. So now, and she keeps seeing Frank, she keeps seeing Frank like through the eyes of the green, but she's telling everybody that although she can see Frank, she can't see exactly where he is. She just sees Bruce Wayne, but she can't see the room, and she can't see anything around him because Bruce Wayne doesn't have any lights in wherever he is. So they're just like, so Harley gets the idea. She's just like, well, we can just kidnap him and just ask and just make him tell us where Frank is, but we need to draw him out because no one's seen Bruce Wayne in a long time. So then they look at Catwoman because Selina's sitting across the room, and she's just like, oh, don't look at me, darling. She's like, I want nothing to do with him. We broke up because, the Music Meister and everything, they broke up. So she was just like, we broke up and he's so clingy. And, but then, she had given them this invitation to a gala that he's throwing in honor of Martha Wayne. And Selina was just like, she's like, I'm not going because, I can't see Bruce. And then that's when Harley was just like, well, if you RSVP and he thinks you're coming, that'll make him show up, and then we can get the pounce on him, we can torture him, and then we can get the location of where Frank is. Because Frank is still the thing. Like, Frank is still the point of the season. Like, whatever's going on, like, there's no big bad, there's no evil threat to Gotham. What's happening right now is basically, this whole season is about finding Frank, who's being kidnapped by Bruce Wayne. So Harley tells, Selina, she's just like, hey, listen, just do us that favor. So Selina RSVPs, but she's like, I'm not going. Harley said that she's gonna go instead. She was trying to get somebody to go with her, but, King Shark had to go, to his father's funeral. Clayface, hey, he had to go do something where he had to do some acting thing, and then Poison Ivy sick. Selina definitely wasn't going. So, Harley was just like, screw it. She's like, I'm gonna go by myself, and I'm going to kidnap Bruce Wayne, and I'm going to bring his ass back. She just told Selina she should just keep an eye on her and make sure nothing happens to Ivy while she's sick. So Harley dips, and she goes down to the gala to go run up on Bruce Wayne. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, so Batgirl, Nightwing, and Bruce, they're all sitting downstairs, and they're trying to figure out if there's any crime that they got to do, or there's some evil deeds going on in Gotham. Barbara pulls up information about an incoming boat shipment that has to do with a lot of hats, like somebody transporting a lot of hats. And then Bruce is just like, I don't see the connection of why this is a crime. But then Barbara tells them, she said that the thing with the hats is they have microchips in them, like they have like little chips inside of them that control people's brains. Like it causes hypnosis or whatever. It makes people follow other people, makes them become dormant. And she said that this could only be the work of the Mad Hatter. And then Bruce was just like, oh, I chased the Mad Hatter out of Gotham. Like, Bruce was very dismissive about the whole thing. And the show is doing a good job of making Bruce the complete, they're making Batman the complete opposite of who we know him to be. Whereas Bruce Wayne, Batman, he would have seen the connection, that Barbara put out there. He would have come to the conclusion, and he would have been like, Jarvis Tetch could be back in Gotham. Like, simp Bruce Wayne on this show, he's just like, oh, I did my thing, and then why would he come back? Because they were afraid of me, and he just thinks he's like, he's the shit. So he was just like Barbara. He was like, your leads are silly. So he's just like, I'm going to the gala, and hopefully Selina will be there. And Barbara, at that point, I guess she went to go continue to pursue her lead, and I don't know why Nightwing didn't go with her, because it seemed like Nightwing actually did agree that Jarvis Tetch could potentially be behind it, but Nightwing just did whatever, and then after that we never saw Nightwing again. So Bruce goes down to the gala, they asked him about Selina, then he put the sad face on. Harley shows up, and then when Harley shows up, she ends up getting into the elevator, and then while she's getting into the elevator, she bumps into Batgirl, she bumps into Barbara. So Barbara shows up, and then when she asked Barbara, she was like, what was she doing here? Barbara said she was doing security for the event, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense, because I thought she was going down to the docks to go check on her lead, but she said she was doing security for the event. So unless she found out that the people from the docks were going to the gala, it never made sense to me why she would be there to do security specifically. But earlier in the episode, before Harley left to go to the gala, she kept getting texts from Batgirl. Like, Barbara kept texting her over and over and over again, and Harley was basically ignoring her and ghosting her. So then when Barbara ran up on her in the elevator, because she said she was doing security, and then she was just like, and then when she realized it was Harley, and she saw Harley, she was like, oh, I thought you had something to do, and then she was just like, oh, I did, I changed my mind. Then her phone rang, Harley answered her phone because it was Catwoman, because Ivy started freaking out. Apparently the green is taking over Ivy, and it is destroying Catwoman's penthouse. But then when Barbara saw Harley answer her phone, that's when Barbara was like, oh, so you do know how to answer your phone. And then she was just like, look, bat brat. She's like, we're not friends. And then she's like, I thought we were friends. And then the two of them get into this whole fight because Barbara thought they were actually friends. And then Harley thought she was kind of annoying. And she was like, you're just a nerd. And then the two of them get into it. And while they're fighting all over the gala, I don't know why Bruce or anyone else didn't see this, but while they're fighting all over the gala, they get run up on in the elevator by none other than the crew of Jervis Tetch, aka the Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter rolls up on him, and then when he realized who they were, he was like, I got one of the Bat Brats, and then he was just like, oh shit, he was like, it's Harley. And then when he recognized Harley, as a fellow villain, he let Harley go, and then Harley looked over at Barbara, she was like, peace, and then like she dipped, and then she went to go kidnap Bruce Wayne. But then at that point, something interesting happened, because when Harley was in the elevator, all of a sudden she started seeing Harleen Quinzel, her actual persona. She started seeing herself in the mirror back when she was a psychiatrist, and then she started counseling herself on why it's not a good idea to leave Barbara behind, giving her, like basically like doing like the good, like the anti-hero hero. Are you really good? Are you bad? Are you that bad? Whatever. And then, despite the fact that she finds Barbara annoying, I guess she did kind of have like a soft spot for her in her heart. Harley felt bad, and then she went back to go save Barbara. She whooped she whooped on Jervis Tetch's behind, and then her and Barbara together, they did the old school Batman and Robin back to back, bang, bang, boom, bang, pow. They beat up all of Jervis Tetch's people, and then like Barbara headbutted Jervis Tetch and knocked him out. And then Barbara was just like, oh, I knew we were friends after all. And then she was just like, we're not friends or whatever. She was like, I saved your ass, but leave me alone, let me go do what I gotta do. And then Harley dipped, and she went to go kidnap Bruce Wayne. So she finds Bruce. Well, she was on the balcony disguised, I guess, as like Catwoman. Bruce showed up. He thought it was Catwoman, and then Harley got the drop on him. She knocked Bruce out and then dragged Bruce back to the hideout where Catwoman was. Once Catwoman saw him laying on the floor, she was like, nope. She was like, we're not doing this. Peace. And I'm out. And Catwoman dipped, and she went God knows where and left Bruce, Ivy, and Harley alone. So now they're going to torture Bruce Wayne and try to get the information to find out where Frank is. Meanwhile, under the sea, King Shark. I don't know why they call him King Shark when he's not the king. Like his brother's the king. He passed the crown over to his brother because he said he didn't want the responsibility of being the king, despite the fact that he was older. And then once they did the funeral and then they gave his brother the crown, his brother basically told him at that point, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna sell all this shit. Like he said that he was gonna sell the Shark Kingdom over to Ocean Master, and I thought that was hilarious. And then that's when like King Shark started having second thoughts, and then he tried to tell his brother, he was like, don't sell the kingdom. And then he was just like, it's time for me to do me. He was like, you selfishly went to the surface for all these years and I was stuck under the sea, but he's like, I'm about to gash out. And then the two of them got into a fight, and then King Shark ended up killing his brother just like he killed his previous 13 siblings. And then now that he's killed his brother who was the king, I guess he now becomes king, so that's gonna be a thing going forward. Like King Shark, well, I guess he is king now. So we'll see if this becomes a thing in the next episode or not, because I was very confused, because I was like, I don't even know what's happening right now. So then, but then after that, that's how that ended. Everything's all hunky-dory. I don't know where Barbara went. Barbara basically either went back down to the docks. I guess she went to go call the police on Jervis Tetch. And if that's the case, because Harley actually killed Jervis Tetch because she beat him with a baseball bat, because when Barbara had told her, she was like, oh, you're not so bad after all, that she beat the shit out of Jervis Tetch, basically to prove a point. So if Jervis Tetch died at the Wayne, the Wayne family banquet or whatever, and Jervis Tetch's minions also, got locked up, I would assume the cops would show up, they would arrest all these people, put them in ambulances and in the back of police cars, and Bruce is just walking around the gala like nothing ever happened. So I find it weird that Bruce Wayne had no idea all this was going on at his own party. And then it's like, for him to get kidnapped, why is Barbara not checking on him? Why would Barbara not go to Bruce and be like, hey, Bruce, I just caught the Mad Hatter downstairs? So that was weird to me. And then Bruce still hasn't said anything about Joker being mayor. I don't understand that. The Joker is the mayor of Gotham City, and Bruce Wayne, Batman, is just acting like it's just business as usual. I'm confused, and I need, I need Bruce to wake up. Like, hopefully this whole thing with him being kidnapped wakes his ass up, because Gotham's going to shit in a handbasket. So that was it, and thank you for tuning in. Like, no Robin, no Nightwing, like, what's going on? Like, what are people at? But overall, still a very entertaining episode of Harley Quinn, and I actually am looking forward to see what happens as they torture Bruce Wayne in the next episode. So hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, always on YouTube, where you can share your questions, comments, and or concerns as we've gone dark. Let me know what you think about this particular episode of Harley Quinn. Did you like it? Did you think it was funny? Do you like Selina? Do you like the whole thing about Bruce being tortured? Do you like simp Bruce Wayne, or do you miss like real kick-ass Batman? Share your questions down below and we will continue to talk about it. So like I said, Stargirl coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I got the She-Hulk episode 2 review coming up pretty soon, so look out for that as well. And we'll keep rolling as all the superhero goodness hopefully returns in the fall. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. So until next time for some more Harley Quinn action, take care, and I'm out this bitch.